Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents, world YouTube videos, law enforcement, and all politicians. Abbotsford residents, I'm running for Commander-in-Chief to bring the RCMP in. That there will put the pure law on the organized crime. Let me show you a little journey. I'm going to show you why the Abbotsford police did what they did. These men, these assholes, this complete shit was covering for an elite ring. Figured they'd never get caught. They had the perfect plan. The shield. The shield! The shield! Don't forget the shield and how we could cry. The Abbotsford police say gangs are at the highest in the streets. I'm looking for more money invested. Long overdue. I could see it coming. I just didn't know I was going to be the one to lead it. The brutal attack on constant residents by this shit. And nobody standing up to say I'm appalled by my officers wailing people in the face. Did you see I turned that guy at the sports center? And Vicky hopes don't write any more about the shit. You need public humiliation. You need to be caught, fired, and charged, because that there keeps you on the straight and narrow. I showed you many years ago that I was taught by the best. I used my knowledge and wisdom of what I learned from Peter Wall, Mike Dakota, Ani, and everybody to help my residents. I used my knowledge and wisdom to make sure that Abbotsford police would not hold any evidence, couldn't clean, or had no choice. They couldn't get to know what was going on. This here, I want to show you. This here is the Abbotsford Police Chief, former Chief Mike Sir. Mike Sir at the City Auditorium sat beside Henry, and I was behind him. And Henry told Mike, let me quote it for you, "You can't have that shitbox Mogill bust them homeless to the voting poll. He might get this because the South Asians are very strong." Mike Sir said, I'll take care of the problem. I'll have a few of my guys go down in front of the Salvation Army and bust up his campaign team. And I took that information to the RCMP. I could put a camera on it and show the brutal racist attack. Look at the uniform. Look at the uniform. I want to get a position in the uniform. I can get everything up my... Look at the uniform. Look at the uniform. Get the uniform. Langley, get in here. We need help when one officer's attacked. I believe that the boundaries were set when the Mission RCMP saw the overwhelming evidence of Henry's attempted murder and how many witnesses were involved, heard the 911 call, and said, we got to distance ourselves. And police are supposed to help police, I know that. They're not supposed to pit one against each other. But let's tell you this, when we went to them, they took the high road knowing to stay away from this shit. These men were running a mob. These men thought they were smarter. I'll show you a 5-part series. Let me begin here. This is Ron Funkadiverse. Henry Brown went into the city with his son and his friends to benefit him and his friends. He used the OCP, the Commercial and Official Community Plan. He awarded city councilors special favors like Ross Siemens' gas station and didn't report Ross to the fisheries to Blackjack Ross for decisions. Right there in Brown, thank you, sir. He helped Andy Sadu and Dave Sadu. And then they got Tracy Road sold, they got to build their house. He helped Ed Fast rush his house when everybody else was waiting permits. He blackjacked Ed Fast by saying, you do one thing, Ed, to help them residents that came in there and leak it into Ottawa. I'll tell on Devon Roy, Pacific Peak Homes, into Diverse. And then with Diverse and me, we'll squash it. Henry partnered up to Diverse under the official OCP plan that he lobbied, knowing that he could get Ross in. and he needed Ross. This is why the election took place. This is why I didn't fight the election, and I went to make sure with the RCMP I had enough people in to show Henry was loading Ross to enrich and aid the South, and they were frauding. To show the election, Greg Toe's block, Greg had to be paid off in thousands of dollars to take a risk. To show what Vicky Hopes did to Scandal and Dave Sadu the block. This is all money. This is what it was about. Ron Funk and Diverse, Henry lobbied him. Knowing that he had the councils, Ron Funk and Diverse ran Abbotsford. Mayor Ross Siemens on his development. He ran Patricia Dreesen. He ran Dave Sadu. He ran Dave Lowens. And he ran many other people for the councillors. Les Barkman didn't run it. You know, as a developer, you owe them a favor, paying your election and paying everything. Henry used that and said, now I can scandal you. Do what I need. Then he loaded Ron Funk to lobby the official Carroll Ranch and voted through. He used Ron Funk, knowing the OC plan, to buy up at the Abbotsford Mall. He thought he had it all in the bag. He knew anybody who came forward had to go to the Abbotsford police, and he could have you beaten, threatened, and silenced. But Henry Brown lost control of it all when Darren Brown, his son, leaked it. When I saw Mike Sir do what he did to my East Indians and South Asians, I knew I had to go outside the city of Abbotsford. When I saw Mike DeYoung and Ed Fast doing what they were doing, it was to enrich and hate themselves. When I saw a police force that could manipulate, scam, unless we charges don't go forward. We're not coming up to interview anybody or haul anybody into the Abbotsford police. We're going to clean it all. Look at us work for this company. Gangs are after us. Mobs are after us. Oh, my guy died in the street. Covered Henry's murder, Henry's attempted murder, Henry's threats. The task force in front of me wrecked their lives, wrecked it. Darren Brown showed that there was big political players and money at the back, standing in the hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, that would buy that shithole fucking police department to go down on its knees. Mike fled like a little bitch when he knew. Abbotsford guys in the bottom told me they were pinging my phone, and that's how they were tracing me. Run, rat, and the other out. But let me make it clear, ladies and gentlemen, there is no pass for anybody in society when you decide to take the law in your own hands and try to end somebody's life and use the police for threats and manipulation to run somebody out of town. Let me tell you what comes back. Karma. Men and women that said they took an oath, that had special positions, investigators, safety standards acts, that cannot show the courts or prosecutors or the RCMP or politicians we followed up on any of it. We thought we were smarter as assholes in this uniform and did this. Leaves doubt in everybody's mind of how many victims are out there. How many people did they muscle, that they raped, that they threatened to cover up for the elite? This is why I knew that we have to go for the RCMP, because they couldn't set up the organized crime in another community. We don't need to believe and understand this. The Abbotsford police were saying we're going under investigations. We're going to have the Police Complaints Commission in. We're really going to save it. The millionaires are hanging on to the company. Look at the millionaires. The millionaires stand to go where every criminal goes, to jail. They used the city to gain inside information on official complaint, help councils help them, and people in the city for them to benefit, enrich their own over Abbotsford taxpayers. Many people have came to help me and Abbotsford residents, over the Abbotsford police, over Ed Fast, over Mike DeYoung, and over everybody. Thanks to the RCMP, I want to explain something to you. The RCMP say, whenever you're being attacked or threatened, log it. write a note, take a notepad, write it down, state what you state, and don't do it a day later, do it that same day. This is why I put it on social media, so everybody can watch. Every officer in the Abbotsford Police who figured they were above the law know what they did to cover for Henry Brown. They knew what they were doing to fraud that election so Henry could load Ross to embezzle money out of Abbotsford taxpayers. Have to go before our courts and make the decision that they had a sworn duty and they were in position and they covered and clean. That they lose their pensions, they face jail, and they're made examples for all law enforcement to see everywhere. Staff sergeants that told me to go fuck myself, I'm not charging Henry, brought before the court on attempted murder. That way, Mike Sears brought back screaming, the great chief humiliated everywhere, because I believe with that much pressure, Mike Sears is going to crack and cut a deal and tell everything and all of it of how this mob was set up. This Henry put in play for his friends, and I'm going to lay you a videos out of all his friends to benefit. Blocking Augustine Billionaire, tying up the fine resources, searching them through the city, making sure he knew what was coming up at the mall for all development, then he could lobby. Vicky Hopes wrote under the official community plan, the OCP, that means we gotta move ahead. We need a 6 stories at Little Oak Mall, under the official community plan. Rob Funk was an organized crime. He benefited. He benefited with them councillors and mayors. Not only did Rob Funk do that, his whole team went into Dave Sidhu's office, worked the phone to make sure that Rossi won. Rossi won. Look at Rossi. I want to make sure the Abbotsford residents elect me. Elect me. Put me as your commander-in-chief. And I guarantee you that building and everything Rob Funk will be before the Supreme Court for insider trading, special rep for treatment, and everything else, thanks to all of the evidence of Darren Brown. Rob Funk will be up on charges for insider trading and information with his best buddy, the mayor. This is the mayor, Henry Brown. You know how big I am? This is the mayor. Let me tell you. The Abbotsford judge said nobody's above the law. No one can use the law and no one can bend it. And no one thinks of the end. They only think of the beginning of what they could grab. Wasn't it easier for everybody involved who had their lives wrecked, will probably be being searched, like Simon Gibson said, their phones attacked. I'm worried about the phones, because what the Abbotsford police did. How I'm worried. No one will check the Abbotsford staff sergeant. He's chafing gangs tonight. He's out there in the undercover car. He's working and looking at the police. The police, you gotta believe the police. Nobody will question the police. Couldn't come to these homeowners. Couldn't call them in the police. Couldn't take statements. This is the only way we can claim the company. Our jobs, billionaires. Wasn't it easier to do the right, follow the law, charge Henry Brown, witnesses, criminal reports, and everything else? They couldn't do it. Henry owned them, like Darren Brown said. My dad will take them all down. They got to defend my dad. My dad will never serve a day in jail. He owns the Abbotsford Police. Mike Sears is at his begging call. To Mike Sir, this is on the world stage because of the evidence was overwhelming. This shit will wreck your life. It'll cause you to drink. It'll cause you to lose your shit. But also, it'll cause the law to get involved and charge you for what you did in that police force. Nobody's going to outrun this. And why? The attacks were unbelievable. It wasn't about rare. Brenda Falk with the ministry, the RCMP solved it. The attacks with the task force, nobody can come at me. Look at me, secret agent is covered. You know, it exposes my guy's face to the gangs. It puts them in the line of duty and oh, look at me. Somebody. They're gonna fight to hold the company. And we all knew that because it's their jobs. And they know that what it needs to be done. That's why John Rustad was here. Removed all of them. and the RCMP in now, when I come in as your mayor, and I come in here, I'm going to tell you, the officers that had a sworn duty, investigators, Safety Standards Act, and all them that failed to take them reports and blocked and threatened, I will proceed to the maximum sentence of the law. And as an officer, when you're sent to jail and you're in hard prisons, the gangs and the people that are in there will kick the shit out of you. I want to make that clear to you. I want to make it clear, and why I want to make it so clear. If you go to the Mission RCMP, they'll tell you how many nights I begged and pleased. They're going to frame me. Please help me. Please help us. Please help us. Henry tried to kill me. The RCMP man never looked away. He knew it was organized crime. They just had to know who was running the ship to cover Henry's hit and run. How Henry could order. Ron Funke the verse. That there will send you the life up the river. This is why they couldn't sue me for making false allegations or anything, because Darren Brown, who set the whole plan up with his dad in the city as economic development officer, opened the door. The CEO of Diverse now will start to be searched by everybody, which I know of who's involved in owning, from municipality to municipality. But the Abbotsford police failed, and they failed bad. We got to make sure that people like Olenoff, his face is worldwide for his threat on me to drop them videos and lawsuit with Abbotsford homeowners. There was many witnesses there when Olenoff threatened. The stuff that Gertie Purdy did, the stuff the cop did and threatened and smashed my phone. This wasn't me after the Abbotsford police. This was me running for mayorship to show the fraud of Abbotsford, and Henry ordered the Abbotsford police to do it. And they didn't know how to stop it or say no. And now we're going to have a meeting upstairs with everybody upstairs. We're going to sit with investigators and we're going to try to come to an understanding. That's not how you do it, Watts. That's not how none of you do it. You don't do that. You bring everybody who was involved, all the witnesses, and you put them in the boardroom, and you watch your fucking officers wailing, pulling their hair out, squirming. Can I stay? Can I stay? This is why I went to the world stage, because it was my life, but it was organized crime. And live, Ron Funke Diverse. This is where they changed the zoning from 200 to 400 illegally. This is where they hid the development sign. This is where they took the site down and trucked it everywhere. This is where they had all the pumper trucks. Ron is big, buddy. Ron gives to the police foundation where Irwin Brown is. Ron knows everybody. Ron's Henry's partner. Ron's tied to Devon Oil, Pacific Peak Homes. He's tied into it fast. Nobody goes after Ronnie. Right, Ronnie? I'm live, Abbotsford, British Columbia.